Hello, hello. Let me start this whole thing with saying that there will be no gameplay. So if you're here for gameplay, I'm not trying to bait you. There will be none in this one. This is gonna be because, as you've seen it previously, got to the 4040, and it's a good place to, look at the current state of the character and the gear and all the stuff and contextualize it a little bit. Why they are the way they are and where I can go from here, because I think that might be interesting, and maybe it could be interesting for other people too. So let's just get to it. Obviously it will be, I think my profile will be linked in the description. You can look at it closer, and let's get to it. The weapon, it's still the same that I did like many days ago when I threw essences on it, the minion essences, and then once I hit an attack speed roll, even though it wasn't that great, and I had a free space for the craft, I just did it, and so far there was no changes in weapons. But where it could go from here, obviously you could go for just making one that has more space on it, so you can have good attack speed, the minion damage, and then you have free space for multi-mod, and the hits can be evaded, and the trigger craft, right? Like that's where you could go. Or the better one, obviously, is you do the abyssal socket thing, where you craft with abyssal socket, fossil stuff, and then you have to hit the fracture, I think, because you can't keep that and still have the minion damage on it, which is the whole reason why I didn't do it. Also, you're losing a socket, and that will get us to the rings, because right now I still just have the despair in there. But once you would make this into the abyssal socket version of weapon, then you would do the socket, and then you would have despair on hit ring, I think, which I had, but then I didn't have the bone ring, so I didn't have any resistances for my minions, and that was terrible because they just died to everything because they had 40 elemental res. So now they have elemental res, but as you can see, this ring has basically 2 dead mods on it, because dexterity and the attacks doesn't matter, doesn't do anything. So obviously this could be better. And the other ring is, again, could be better. It's actually kind of bad. I think if I just really filter by the stats that are relevant for me, is like less than a divine. So I could very easily just get a better one. And if I filter it for not even the craft, but instead I filter it for empty or crafted modifier, yeah, it says 30C. It's basically if I'm filtering for relevant stats. So again, awful so far. Doesn't look good, does it? But here's the gloves. Again, this is something that I got for a few C. I think maybe, I'm not even sure if I got it for few C. Maybe it was a drop, actually. And again, it's so insanely cheap, actually, because the 2 mods that I really care about is the res, I guess 2.5, 3, kinda, because there's the crafted. But yeah, life and res. This is nothing really. Mana doesn't matter. ES doesn't really matter. I guess the ES is the part of the hybrid, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, I guess the life doesn't really get much better than that, but it's fine. And obviously did the implicits. There might be higher tiers, but I mean, I could blast or the minion damage for 2% better. But again, this is absolutely nothing special. And then there's again the abyssal option that you craft it, and then you could, on this one, you might not even have to do anything special. It could be just done right away if I really wanted to. right? Because you might just have abyssal socket. It's like you don't have to hit the fracturing orb on it necessarily, because you could just have a usable one with an abyssal socket. But then if I do both, then I'm losing 2 sockets, so I have to like think about it a little bit what I'm actually willing to lose. This one is actually funny because it was, first of all, it was a quite cheap one. I think I got it for like 15C quite a while back, and then as you can see, I ruined the 2-tone boots and I ruined the implicit because I needed the elemental ailment avoidance for this here, I think, because with this one, the jewel in the belt and this 23 here, I have ignite avoidance at 100%, why I kind of ruined it. And then I used one of the orbs because of the challenge. Like, might as well use it on something that I could use it, because this one still had 40 memory strands. So I just used the one that could, potentially upgrade the tiers. And then it got a little bit better. It's like the life went up. I think the armor and DS went up tier. And I think the lightning res is the one that went up. And that's pretty much it. The belt, I was considering going for 100, obviously, but then I was like, do I really care about it? Like, you can see a team here, and then I'm gonna talk about. It's like this one I got the 30 because you hit some extra breakpoints with that going into like corroded everything territory. Like, for example, this one gets like an extra projectile once I changed it to 30% from 29, that kind of stuff. And I think later it will also matter, right? Because like later, if you go for a better Dialas, I think you need like level 4 enhance, and then you need a +1 to socketed gems Dialas, and I think that's where you hit the next breakpoint, at least based on what I've seen from other builds or like other POBs. So that would be the next state of the chest armor. And then obviously swollen. I went for like a better rolled one with like 15 on the spell damage, and then the like higher ward, like highest ward I could find. Right now it's like 95 divines, the cheapest one with these rolls. So that is like probably the most expensive piece of the gear. And this one I should have changed it for a +2, especially because when like earlier it was quite cheap, but I think at this point it might be actually quite expensive. I think it was like 5 div like last time I checked, but now I think it might be more expensive. So let me check for a bit. First, and if I check for online only, I had 6, 7, 7. I think I get it. But the reason, again, was mainly that I didn't feel like changing it. So like, as you can see, there's like a bunch of things that can be like a lot better or very cheap, but like there I had that silly I don't know, it's not really even a view or perspective or outlook on things. It's more like on some things it's like quite randomly there are things that I'm like willing to pay tens of divines for like a small increase, and there are other places where I'm not willing to fork out like 1 divine for a significant increase. It doesn't really have any like rhyme or reason to it why I'm doing the one thing and I'm not doing the other thing. So yeah, that is the generally the reason why you could be looking at my character or my POB and scratch your head thinking like why is this thing there, or why is that gear still not upgraded, that kind of stuff. Because it's like, for what I was doing, it was, I guess, sufficient, but there are many upgrades in here. So like obviously there is, I could basically like overall I think I could like spend a mirror from here on the character without going into like a very uh, rough diminishing returns territory, because there is just so many things to upgrade here. Obviously you could start with the mage blood, right? Like just getting a mage blood, and then but aside from that, there are like basically all the equipment here is could use an upgrade. Maybe like the shield and the neck is like the two things that that are basically done. Anything else, even like chest armor, like it could get the +1 and it would be relevant. So this was on 28 because I still didn't get still didn't buy a 21-23, so this is still a 20-23, and it gets plus levels from this one here, from and from this one here, and obviously from the empower. So that's what I've been running around with. I was talking about the ignite immunity. I did the same thing with the poison, but it was like basically poison in the belt. And then there is another one in the tree, I think this one. And from those I get the poison avoidance. And that's that. This is still absolutely laughable magic 8-point cluster jewel, which I'm not even willing to like wriggle or anything, because then I might hit some notable stuff and then the whole thing gets ruined. So like right now I just have that 8, and this one is also an 8, like a bit better, but it's not obviously nothing spectacular. It's just like barely enough to, you know, hit the chaos stress cap. And then this one just houses the forbidden flesh and forbidden flame pair. And there is this part up here, which could be like, there are, you know, better places to spend it. And if I get like 12, like a 12 point cluster jewel, then, you know, these would probably go into that. So it could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This goes away, and then instead goes like this 1, 2 here. Like this is, I think this is like the nearest jewel. Like originally I went up to here. I think this part was not allocated. But if I, you know, want to spend the points, I probably should grab the jewel socket that is like reasonably close or reasonably placed. But if I wanna like end up, I could maybe instead like 1, 2, 3, or 5, but then it would be like another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I could like cut this point here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, cut it 6, but then I would have to pull 4 from somewhere else, and then it would just, you know, it's probably better to make a good 12 instead of this 8, and then I can, you know, spend the points over here for that, and I guess maybe like squeeze in this too. But as you can see, for now we just grab these life parts here, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to try if like maybe it works, because I couldn't really check it in POB, because the rune graph stuff doesn't really show up properly, at least from what I've experienced. But I was trying to do like, what if I, you know, because there is the 10% more maximum life if you have at least 6 life masteries allocated. Like I was thinking like, oh, does it work? Maybe. Does it work? So like I'm allocating it and then I'm overwriting it to the rune graph. but it shows here that it's allocated, but does it count as allocated? No, it doesn't. It's like it doesn't work. I tried to like maybe, you know, that was one of the reasons why I went this way on the tree. That I was thinking like maybe, you know, I could have that, and I could just, it would be kind of cute to do it that way, but it seems like it does not work. There is this jewel that is quite a nice find actually for me, because I was looking for the mana on hit, or mana per enemy hit with attacks, and it also had corrupted blood cannot be inflicted, and I already have the bleed avoidance from the tattoos, so now I didn't need that, so I just have hinder and maim immunity, which it doesn't even matter. So I don't even know if this one is right. But yeah, this one was a cute find as far as corrupted jewels go. But yeah, like this, I still have this in the tree. Even like, imagine that 40 challenges, but I still have this on the tree. It's quite funny. So that's basically the tree. You can see it obviously more on the stuff on the link. These are just recharges when hit and just relatively random stuff. But this one has a reduced effect of curses, and then I also have a zealotry from mercenary is here. Obviously copying basically what Baylor had. I was lucky to find zealotry envy. Cruel mistress. And it has these like things that kind of whatever. Forbidden right totem. Damage, greater ironwood. I don't even know if this totem does anything. Probably not. Turn, crit chance, greater crit, greater wither. It's nice, you know. I think I'm already applying wither, but anyway. Void sphere and the despair comes from there. Temp chains comes from here. Obviously it has the ring. I also have my own despair here, which I was talking about with. You could, you know, probably should replace that with the despair on hit. Most likely. Because I guess sometimes you don't get anything. But I guess maybe the despair on hit doesn't really matter that much. Right? Because you can just have it on here anyway. So yeah, I think it's hard to find ring, and then the ring is only just a 15 anyway. Like that was the ring that I was using earlier. Still sitting here, no one's buying it obviously. I was using this for a little bit, but then I had to drop. So yeah, I think maybe you don't have to worry about spare on it. Yes, record that tangent, and that's this here, this here, this here, this here, this here. This one is covering the res. Especially looking for the one with the corrupted elemental res. And then this one has the influence, and this one is the last rights. So yeah, basically most of my damage comes from here. Bunch of flat from the envy. So, yep. And them's the stats here. Mercenary. And the animate guardian is just the kind of usual. You can see kingmaker. So gives the fortification and the call and all the good stuff. Garb of the ephemeral. Okay, that was wonderful pronunciation. So, but yeah, garb for all the juicy stuff with, you know, action speed cannot be modified. Also the crit stuff, like nearby enemies cannot crit or cannot deal extra damage with critical strikes. I think one of the two. That's the mod. But I also have the 50% enemy crit extra damage reduction from, like, you know, 4 tattoos. I think that on the intelligence nodes for like 5% each. That's 20, and then there's the mastery that gives 30. Like basically, if I don't have animate guardian, or like the animate guardian does not affect the enemy, then I am, you know, see, I still have the 50% on it. Right, obviously I need offering up. I don't know if this is like right, like 70-70, but then swallowing, so it is lucky. I didn't do the math, but should be fine. And I don't really see any sources like tree or gear that would be like, oh, this is where I can get more block, or if it would be even be worth it. Like if I really wanted to, actually, I could spec back into this even instead of this up here. Like that's another thing that I could do. But again, I didn't really do the math. If it even goes up high, up that high, or if it's worth it, because it's like 70 or 76 is the cap, and then if I can like get 6 more on the 3, but then I'm becoming kind of inefficient, right? Because then I'm looking, like, let's say I grab this, it's not even good, so I have to go down here like to the 3 here, or maybe if I like go up here, no, there's no other side for that one, so I could like grab this, but this is spell block. See what I'm talking about? It's getting a bit awkward. I think I was maybe I mentioned it here, maybe I didn't, but yeah, I had to change this one for the endurance charge generation, so I lost the big 80% slumlord here, but yeah, that's fine. And when I was looking for these, I was like 140, 150 divines. If I'm looking for one that has on these two eternal resilience on one and slumlord on the other, like that's pretty much like the only one that would work anyway. So yeah, this is where I'm at right now. And I think if I miss something, then it's found in the POB. It was like a bit long-winded, but I wanted to like provide some context on why my gear is so bad, basically, even though I'm so far into the content. Yeah, I mean, one thing that is like kind of a pain point is survivability sometimes of the animate guardian, because that is this like this kind of heals it, right? Because like you block, you summon the thing. If the thing dies, then your minions recover the 5% life. But there are quite few things that you can't really just stand there and wait for them to hit you so you can block and activate this. You know, like the stuff that you have to avoid, or it one shots you or two shots you. And there, or like in those unblockable abilities, it's not really a viable option for the survival of it. And then, you know, with the other option, you should move this into the helmet with a +2 minion, and that should give some, you know, extra HP to the animate guardian. Or you could also, you know, drop the whole thing, and then I guess you could even drop the purity, and then you would go back to the previous version that has animate guardian, meat shield, that's the other minion life, I think, support, and specters. But then I would, you know, start worrying about minion gem level for that, thinking like, okay, do I have to hit the next one? And then, you know, that's a whole different angle, different variant there. So yeah, I think I'm fine with this, and yeah, I think I've looked at everything that I wanted to look at. So yeah, and as for the future, I am thinking if I, you know, wanna farm currency for this and then make all those upgrades that I was talking about, or if I want to make a different character that has, you know, mercenary support capabilities, you know, the one where basically a mercenary is the player and you are just the Aurabot or Linkbot or whatever, however it works. That's another option. But if I want to do that, then I would still have to farm on this. So basically, it's if I play PoE in the coming days, then it's gonna be, you know, getting some currency together, because obviously right now it's not a lot, but we'll see if it's gonna be later spent on upgrades for this one or making a new character. As you might know, I'm not really a many characters per league person, but if I'm being honest, the main reason for that is the character slots. Like if I think if I had I think if I had more character slots, I would just, you know, make new characters easily. Every time I want to make a new one, I have to like really think about, okay, which previous character do I want to delete? And yeah, like for example, I think I've ended up deleting my, you know, earliest characters, which in some ways, like in a sentimental sense, is quite of a shame. And obviously, like hindsight, I could have, you know, once I had my slots failed, I probably should have kept like the very first character, just, you know, for basically character age purposes. But I didn't, so it's like feels like I've deleted a part of my PoE history, which is, you know, unfortunate. But I guess that's what happens when you can't, you know, or you don't buy extra slots, and I don't see myself buying extra slots, sadly, in the future. It's just not in the cards, not really. So yeah, I guess that is one of the reasons why I'm not rerolling as easily. So yeah, it's probably just gonna be upgrading this one. But now that I don't have challenges anymore to go for, that will probably lead to a reduced game time or play time as well. We'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. All right. I apologize for being so long-winded about this, but yeah, this is what I wanted to do. Maybe a bit could have been a bit more concise about these things, but I like the process, or like talking about the character process in this way. Anyways, that is for today. Thank you for watching, listening, and have a nice day. Bye bye.